So in the past weeks, I've been working on something new, and I think I invented some sort of new music tool. Imagine combining the rhythm of planets spinning around the sun and a music sequencer that outputs MIDI notes. Well, this is what I did. I'm calling it an orbital sequencer, and since it outputs MIDI notes, you can easily use it to trigger your hardware synth as well as your virtual instruments. Now, as I'm recording this video, I haven't settled on the perfect name for it yet, so I'll add it somewhere here while editing this video, maybe tracking this screwdriver. Before I tell you more about this device, the idea behind it and how I made it, let's take a listen at what it can do. And in the meantime, there is a storm coming, so I better hurry up. My inspiration came from the solar system, since planets spin around the sun, each with a specific frequency, and I said, what if I take these very slow frequencies and turn them into usable ratios or frequencies, periods, to make a sequencer for music production. First thing first, this is not a scientific project, it is an artistic project for music production and sound design. So if there is something not perfect from a scientific perspective, be kind, please. Here I listed all planets from the solar system, and they're listed based on their distance from the sun. So Mercury is the closest one, and then at the bottom we have Neptune. Here we can see the period in days. So Earth is 365 days, while Mars is twice its period, so 687 days, while Neptune is incredibly slow. It takes 60,000 days to complete a full cycle around the sun. Here I converted periods from days to years, and what we can immediately tell is that these four planets are spinning way too slow. Assuming Earth is spinning at 1 Hertz, so this is our unity speed, Neptune takes 164 seconds, so it's about 3 minutes. So I cannot wait 3 minutes to hear a musical note. So I scaled these periods using the following principle. So if I take a frequency and I divide it by 2, I get a subharmonic of that frequency. So I took these numbers. These are periods. I know they're not frequencies, but the principle should be fine as well. So I took these numbers and I divided them by 2 until I found a number that could fit in this gradient of numbers, of incremental numbers. Here, for example, I took the Neptune period, which is 164, and I divided it by 2 raised to the 4th. In this way, the number is 10. It is a subharmonic of this frequency, of this period, but it's fine. I mean, it's something that we can use in the context of music production. And finally, I converted the periods into frequencies, and these are precisely the frequencies used by my device to make those dots spin around the sun and produce rhythms. Then I divided this area, this rectangle, into 4 quadrants, and every time a planet crosses one of these lines, it triggers a MIDI note. My main goal was to design a sequencer for generative rhythms and harmonies, but most importantly, organic rhythms. With standard sequencers, we're often limited to integer ratios, so we take a measure and we divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Most of the time it's a binary subdivision, so we always divide the measure by 2, by 4, by 8, and so on. We deal with quantization, beats per minute. My device works in the opposite way. It is not quantized and it does not tempo sync with your DAW. I've thought about adding these features, but doing so would radically change the core concept of this project. Now let's jump into Reaper so I can show you all its features and how to use it. From your DAW session, you can now create 2 tracks. The first one is for Plugdata, and we can add an instance of Plugdata FX. This is the Plugdata plugin version. When installing Plugdata, you can choose between standalone version and audio plugin version. The last one comes in 3 formats: LV2, VST3, and Clap. I'll go with the VST3 version. If this is your first time opening Plugdata, you won't see the recently opened patches. You can click Open Patch and your computer file browser will appear. Now locate the folder where you saved the .pd file and click Open. At the time I'm recording this tutorial, the sequencer is still under development, so here I have the patch with a temporary name, orbital sequencer 02.pd. This instead is the final name. Now, if planets are spinning and flashing, means that the Plugdata device is working. Now, we can close it and we can add a sound source. I want to use Surge XT, and I'll leave this init so preset. Last thing we need to do is grab the Plugdata MIDI note and send it to the destination track. In Reaper is extremely easy. You simply drag and drop the route icon and release it when you're on top of your destination track. Maybe it's a good idea to find a better sounding preset. This ambient guitar sounds way better. On the left side, we have 8 sliders for note durations. They range from 100 to 1000 milliseconds. While on the right side, we have 8 sliders for note velocity, ranging from 0 up to 127. Every time a planet crosses one of the 4 quadrants, it will take a snapshot of the current slider position and generate a note based on those values. Now, what I like to do is automate these sliders, so you can click these toggles. Now let's talk about velocity. Here we can scale the maximum velocity range using this top white slider, and as you can see now velocity is limited to low values, so the synth is playing very quietly. If we bring up the maximum range as well as the minimum note velocity, the synth will play notes with high velocity. Same process goes for note duration. Now, this specific synth patch is not sensitive to note duration, so we'll skip it for now. The generated pitch instead is chosen from the selected scale. You can choose between major, minor natural, Phrygian, Locrian, and whole tone scales. And of course, you can change the root key by using this super handy keyboard on the left. I then decided to add 3 scaling methods for planets' rotations. So the first one is the one I described you in this video. So this is what we could call the natural one, the one that most faithfully recreates the rotation speed between planets in the real solar system. Then I added a custom one, and we can immediately see that planets like Neptune are spinning way faster than what they should. In this way, we have a more consistent velocity between all planets. Last, we have uniti, which in Italian means united or linked. Here, planets are spinning at about the same speed, but it's not the exact same speed. They are changing speed very slowly. And as we can see, the pattern these 8 planets are making is very slowly changing in time. Last but not least, I want to show you how I choose to distribute these notes across multiple octaves. The system is always generating notes in the range of 3 octaves. Here we can change the octave range, and we can see that we have 3 numbers. The one in the middle is the one used to set the octave for the first 4 planets, so the closest one to the Sun. In this example, they are in the 4th octave. Then we have 2 planets on the upper octave, 5 in this example, and 2-1 in the lower octave. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention the acceleration button. So you can click this circle and it will add an acceleration to these 8 planets and make them spin faster. Acceleration is randomly generated, so changes every time. You can grab this sequencer together with all my projects from my Patreon page, link in the video description below. I know this is quite an unusual and very experimental project, but I would like to hear from you. So, do you think this sequencer could add something new to your music productions? If so, let me know with a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao!